boys and girls to ShockCast, episode 206, right?
You trust your instincts, your Witcher instincts. They would have proved you right, so.
Yes, I am your host with the most, George Jimenez, staff writer at DualShockers.com. Joining me tonight is a two-man raid happening. My co-host, video guy.
We're not going raiding because House of Wolves does not have a raid, so I don't know, more it's like an expedition or like a strike or I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So whatever the is, obviously. So
I'm so against three-man strikes. That is an odd thing.
Yeah.
Video games came out this week. I kind of don't care because I'm all about The Witcher. But you know what? We have a routine. We have a format. Do it. Just tell me what.
All right, so for the new releases that are not Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, so for the releases for next week, which is May 24th to May 31st, 2015, we've got Badland, Game of the Year Edition for PS4 and PS Vita, Octodad, Deadliest Catch for PS Vita. I just wrote about that today, so it's exciting. Don't Starve, Giant Edition for Wii U, Serpent and the Staglands for PC, Mac, and Linux, Splatoon for Wii U, The Fruit of Grisaia for PC, Legend of K Anniversary for Wii U, PS4, and PC, and that's it. That's all we've got. Pretty light week.
Yeah, light week. I'm gonna go with The Witcher 3, Ryan, because The Witcher 3 is
That wasn't test for next week, but yeah, I'll excuse it.
Like my ears didn't even perk up. Like I just bloop, whatever Ryan just said, just way over my head.
I'm gonna go with Splatoon because I'm really, it really seems so that's the new Nintendo Wii U exclusive coming out, and I got to play it at last year's E3, and I played it a couple times. It's really fun. It's a really cool, like crazy shooter. I hope it does well. You know, new Nintendo IPs tend to be a little shaky on how well they do, but it's a lot of fun. I hope it does really well for the Wii U, as well as it can do on the Wii U. So. Yeah,
I mean, it's great. You know, getting exclusive titles, and it's just kind of like, great, you're on the Wii U, but no one played it. It was kind of like the whole Shovel Knight thing. Great, awesome game, and it's like, we need to put this on other platforms so we can sell copies, so we can keep staying in business. So, yeah, I mean, yay, Wii U. I mean, Ryan, ask me when the last time I touched my Wii U was.
That sounds dirty, Wii U, because that sounds dirty too. When was the last time you interacted or played on the Wii U?
A Christmas.
Okay.
And I drove it, and I said, no more, no mas.
So anyway.
It just looks nice in my entertainment unit. It's not plugged in, but it looks nice. Most people are like, oh, what's that? Oh, it's my Wii U. Oh, cool. It's just I didn't know they added a gamepad to the Wii. I'm like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan, the Witcher is out. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Giuseppe's working on the review. We got a review copy. Kind of delays.
Yeah, I think review copies went out pretty late. It's like a 200-hour game. And I think actually the only review copies that they had prior to the game release were debugged PS4 units. So you can only play it if you had a debugged PS4. So it was a little... And, that was a little tough, I think, for, people that wanted to play on the Xbox One or the PC. A little bit.
That's not happening. So if you're wondering where the Witcher 3 review is, it's being worked on. Giuseppe is going to squeeze the life out of that game before he puts it into that issue. When I had when I reviewed Dragon Age, I had the game almost like at one point I had to decide like, all right, I need to stop doing side quests and just finish this main campaign. And I felt dirty doing that because like usually for a game like that, I like to do everything I can up until past this point. The game is over, so do what you gotta do. So fine, let's do it.
Because of how much, because you're working against the deadline and you just have so much content. So which is why I tend to stay away from RPGs a little bit because I'm not a huge RPG person, and also just because like that's a lot of pressure to do in a very short amount of time. So because most of the time you have to kind of either breeze through or miss most of the side missions, to get your review in on time. So it's a little tough, but
right now on the Xbox One. I got to play it early. Like I got it digitally, and I just I preloaded it, and then I was just kind of on my Xbox, and I saw Play Witcher. I'm like, oh, okay. And it was like at 8 o'clock or something on Monday. I was able to just kind of get in there.
The digital copies, they had it set up so that way if you pre-ordered it through digital pre-orders, then it would unlock early than than waiting for the retail copies to come in. So
pretty much all my games because I don't really trade in games anymore. Joel wrote a nice piece about like, come on guys, let's just all go digital. It's nice. And man, going digital. The only issue I'm running into right now is I'm just running out of space on my consoles because I haven't done the yet, or the PS4. A lot of like, okay, am I ever gonna play Destiny? Should I delete this because it's taking up like 60 gigs, or you know what I mean? It's that problem because both systems have really horrid download time, so it's kind of leave it off. I'm like, I'm not gonna play this game for months because if I install this next week, a day and a half, I screw it. No.
Yeah, it was good that you mentioned Joel's piece because I definitely enjoyed reading it, and I think he had a lot of good sort of claims about the benefits of going digital versus physical. I think it is unfortunate timing coming after the fiascos with PT and with what was the other one with the Gears of War remastered leakers that Microsoft basically set the kill switch on their consoles.
Rules.
Yeah, but I mean, it is. I think it does show kind of the more negative aspects. I think of the all digital future, quote unquote. That it is like especially with PT, where it's like once this game was delisted and removed from PSN and its servers and all that, like you can't re-download it. You can't access it ever again. So more probably think parts of going digital, but again, the industry is naturally going toward that. Like naturally we're going to kind of like the music industry, how the majority of it now is on iTunes, and like 2 people buy CDs anymore. Gaming will go in a similar direction. It's just gotta there's still some things that have to be kind of worked out and compromised, I think, a little bit.
It'll be a matter of convenience. Like you have to show me that digital is the best option. Like because downloads in 20 minutes, so you don't have to run out and go to the store and blah blah blah.
If you 60 gigs and 20, I want your internet connection because that is like,
and I can do it in a flash. It's awesome. But I think the consoles, they like the speed, so it's just kind of they throttle the speed, so it's just kind of like, nope, this is the maximum download.
Like, PSN in particular is not very speedy, so like sometimes even like 4 gigabytes can take me like an hour. When
Sure. Of a 256 megabyte update for like Bloodborne that I was trying to play, and it said 11 hours.
Yeah, PSN.
It was literally 11 hours.
PSN can be a little weird like that. I feel like Xbox Live is a little bit better with that. Like things download fairly quickly. I feel like through Xbox Live, but
depends on what you're trying to get. If a Tuesday release day and you're trying to download something day of something coming out, but what is not a nightmare? See that transition? How cool that was! It was the Witcher 3, Ryan. I know you 1 and 2 for some crazy reason. 3 right now, I am digging it. I'm about 8 to 10 hours in.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So that it sounds like you're definitely pretty good, even though it is a quote unquote like 20 to 200 hour game. Like you sound like you're at least a good way into the game.
You can probably beat it in 20 hours, maybe less than that. But they're just so
everything.
It's a lot longer. Kind of that little vibe. Like you kind of wander into a place and there's literally just like a notice board, and you take quests from there. You can take contracts to hunt down monsters. You can just help random people. Like there's just so much to do that it's just like, if you stick with just the campaign story, you're gonna miss out on huge chunks of the world just completely unexplored because it's all related to like a side mission. Mm-hmm. Like I had a mission for a sorceress lady who had me off. I got on my boat and got onto this little island to like exorcise some ghosts, and I was like, you know what? I didn't have to do any of this. And then we had sex in the forest because The Witcher, medieval James Bond. He's just kind of like so cool and so suave. And he's just, the ladies love.
So I was going to ask about, aside from your sexual conquests in Rivia, your 8 to 10 hours, has that been mostly stuff? Have you been doing kind of a mix of like story and side quests and like just putzing around in the world? Or
it's mostly a little bit of both. I got to a point where I have to do 2 separate things for the main story mission. So it's like, I need to go talk to this witch, and I need to go talk to this baron. And then I'm doing all the side stuff before that. But the cool thing is all the missions on your quest log give you recommended levels. So you just pick up quests, and it's like, yeah, you need to be level 22 to do this. And I'm like, well, I'm only level 6, so I'm going to keep that on the back burner, which is good. But I mean, you can go for it. It just you won't be. Yeah, because the combat is a lot better than it was in The Witcher 2. Meaning, like, I don't have to put points into anything to learn how to dodge. Like, hey, you can dodge right off the bat. I'm like, oh, awesome, and I can parry right off the bat. That's great too. If you're not paying attention, the enemies can just get behind you and kill you in a couple of strikes. auto and really bad. Meaning like when you fast travel, I think it only auto saves when you fast travel. So unless you go in and manually quick save before before and after most fights, you're gonna lose so much time. And that happened to me at least half a dozen times, where I just did 20 minutes of fighting drowners and kicking the crap out of them and going here and going there, and then not realizing I didn't regain my health because I forgot to meditate, because there are no potions in the game. You just kind of have to, after each fight, you meditate, you get your health back, or you can eat and stuff, and your vitality slowly regenerates as you go on.
Right.
Yeah, where it's just like, oh, battle's done, hey, your health is back. Like, no, or like, oh, let me just take a potion. No, you need to go into the menu, meditate, and the meditating is a lot easier than it was in The Witcher 2. And well, you're still playing The Witcher 1, so you're gonna see the kind of the progression of like,
yeah,
there's almost not that much crap on screen. The menus are still a bit cumbersome, especially trying to like equip stuff on your inventory. There's no you can set something onto like a radial menu, but then you can set things onto that radial menu, so you can just keep going on. And man, I'm not a huge fan of the combat. Like you almost have to kind of like cheese your way through a lot of it. And I would also recommend maybe upping the difficulty a bit, just because I'm finding just I dodge, get behind him, hit him a couple times, dodge, get behind him. Like once you start seeing that you're kind of invincible during certain dodges, the game becomes a little bit on the side. Amazing hardcore medieval, all gray choices. Like there's no good, bad. It's just all. He just kind of like he's like so aware of like how shitty of a world he lives in, that he's just like, listen, I'm not gonna rock the boat. Like every once in a while you'll see something, be like, no, I'm gonna step in, and he'll step in and do it. But a lot of times, like I did a mission where we're looking for the guy who was the werewolf was actually the girl that went missing. And what happened was when he turned into a werewolf, he would go and lock himself away. But the sister was jealous because she got to marry the werewolf guy. So what she did was she took the sister to where and then when he turned, she tossed the sister in there, and then she died. And then at the very end of the kind of question, after you fight the werewolf, there's all this big confrontation. And when she reveals the fact, like, oh no, yeah, I sacrificed myself. I'm gonna kill you now. The Witcher you can either go, listen, werewolf, you need to shut up, and I'm gonna kill you, or you can just say, you know what? You guys deal with it. I'm leaving. And then she gets eaten alive, and then the werewolf says, hey, man, could you kill me, please? I feel really bad. And the Witcher's like, all right, great, I'll kill you too. And then that's it. Everyone died. I was just like, oh, wow, that was a really sad, messed up love triangle that happened there. But I'm really digging that game. Just those kind of like scenarios, and like I didn't have to do any of that. It was just a random kind of monster contract that you get, and I like that there's more of that in this game also, because your character's profession is that he hunts monsters. He just kind of gets pulled into all this political nonsense because he's a badass. But think Mad Max. He's just kind of he's not really involved in anything. He just kind of gets dragged into things, which is really cool. But,
yeah, I know a lot of people have kind of compared it to a Game of Thrones type type deal, where it's you go around and a lot, like one review I saw was playable Game of Thrones, which is a cool idea, definitely. So if you want to go and qualify for the
meaning, like there's a war going on, and one side is clearly losing, and it's you're doing a mission for the Emperor Tywin Lannister, and I got to finally have that cutscene with them, and I'm like, man, what a cool guy, and that was like you're kind of intimidated by this guy. And yeah, so you're going through a lot of these marshes, like battlefields after the fact. So it's just a lot of corpses and dead bodies, and people trying to like find loved ones, and just scavengers and monsters, just kind of like just almost being like vultures coming in and just eating corpses and stuff. And you're just kind of watching this, and you're these things and kill everything in sight, and they're after you for whatever reason. And it's a lot of fantasy nonsense. If references that you're just kind of gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna have to take your word for it that this was a bad guy.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So, like, I know obviously you seem like you played at least Witcher 2. Have you played both of the previous games?
Yes.
Or yeah. So, So actually, I haven't played the previous games before. So this past weekend, after I finished my queue a little bit, I started a little, like only maybe the first hour, like not even. Because I do really want to play Witcher 3. It looks really good. I just, I tend to be the kind of the completionist person where I like to play everything in a series and know like all the story and things like that. So that was, that was why I was kind of reluctant to jump into Witcher 3 blind. So I'm going to play through the first two games first, and then I'll play Witcher 3. Even though I know a lot of people that have been playing it, have said, and even CD Projekt Red said that they've kind of designed the game to be a little bit more welcoming to new players, that like you don't necessarily have to play the first two games to enjoy this. Though I'm sure for like the lore and the story and things like that, it helps. So. Yeah.
I actually really like because that kind of updates as the game continues. So as you find out more things about certain people, it fills in more of their bios. But and then there's also a part that since there's no save transfer from like Xbox 360 to Xbox One, they just kind of fill in the things that happen in Witcher 2, where they just kind of like, hey, we heard that you. Is this true? And you're like, yeah, I did that. That guy died. Okay, so this guy's super dead in our story. So that just means it's their Mass Effect way of like, okay, confirming that this is dead. This is your world.
I'm sure they couldn't really do anything like Dragon Age, where like they weren't. I guess they didn't really have any way to transfer like what you did from the previous game. But even Dragon Age, I'm assuming, was a little doing that.
Oh yeah, but the way it worked in Dragon Age is you actually go to a website and it has all the decisions that you made in all the Dragon Age games that you just do in this nice little comic book thing. And that's how you shaped your world. And then when you play Dragon Age Inquisition, you log into your BioWare account and it says, hey, we want to link to this world state you created, and then you create that, and that's how everything got transferred. That's these cloud saves. So they miss out. So you're just kind of like randomly choosing things after things that just sound nice to you, but you have no idea what kind of like long-standing ramifications are there for these decisions.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only time. And then I was sitting there, I was like, oh crap, I don't remember. But so far, I mean,
it is tough because I mean, Witcher 2 came out like 4 years ago, so I mean, this is a long.
The Witcher 2 does something amazing where it's split into 4 acts. At the end of Act 2, you have to make a decision that completely changes Act 3, meaning because you get to side with one or two, one person or the other, an elf, or I think his name was LaRoche. If you side with LaRoche, your Act 3 takes place in a military base, and you deal with a bunch of weird king stuff happening in that area. And then if you side with the elf, your Act 3 takes place in like an elven ruin, and you do more foresty nonsense. So it's like your Act 3 is almost entirely different up until maybe the very end when it starts kind of like coming together, where you don't even see that other starting area. So if I went one way, I don't see this base, and and vice versa. So if I did this one, I don't see the elven ruin until like way late in the game. I'm hoping to see something like that and have something like drastically change, but I mean, there's just so much. I mean, they added horses in this. I really like the monster contracts because it's almost like their own little like subplots, and they're all it's a lot of Batman detective vision in woods and using it, and then you see a little blood. Man, I think my biggest complaint so far has just been the combat that just gets a little like. I don't want to say that it's just difficult. I feel like that it's just not fair, and it just doesn't feel like it could have used a Shadow of Mordor or a Batman style countering system, because this you can dodge, you can parry, and you can roll, and they don't really explain block and counter. If you're being attacked by wild animals, then maybe the dodge works really well, and people doing like really big super blows, then yeah, you want to do the little sidestep thing.
Okay.
But, yeah, none of that is ever explained, and the targeting is a little finicky. Like you have to click the right stick, and that'll target a guy, and then you can flick it around. But if you're, I could target the dogs, but not target the werewolf.
Yeah.
But then if I took the targeting off, he automatically faced the werewolf, but there was no indicator telling me like, hey, you're on the werewolf now. You're not like free roaming around. So yeah, that was annoying because, like I said, if you get shot from behind or hit from behind, you stagger and it interrupts your attack. So you're just kind of like, an enemy catches you in a combo, you're just kind of sitting there like it's Mortal Kombat. You're just going blah 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 blah, and then you die, and then you realize you didn't save for like an hour because you fast traveled 20 minutes ago, and you're like,
yeah. Is it really varied in like the different ways you can approach it? Is it like so like Dragon Age, where you can kind of do like you can focus on magic, you can focus on melee, you can kind of do in between like.
They definitely streamlined it. You're gonna notice in Witcher 1 and 2, you can do a lot with like you can set traps, and you can alternate with like kind of your magical abilities. This one is kind of like all encompassing. Like you don't really lay down traps anymore. What you do is you have you can like quick throw bombs or quick eat potions or something. So in Witcher 2 you can meditate and take order potions and do like this weird kind of like mini game of like taking the right combination and you start to lose health. So it becomes this game of like, all right, because where it's like you have to give yourself just enough buffs for the situation, meaning like, oh, you're fighting ghosts, you want to make sure you put Spectre oil on your sword before the battle so you can do more damage on Spectres. So it's a lot of that. There is a lot of prep work before you go into a battle, so that's why I kind of wish there was a quick save option. Like, if the game knew I was going to fight, 24 drowners, like, hey, we're going to save right before that happens for you. We're doing you the solid, but it's like, nope, it's like you control. It's very PC game mentality. It's just like, no, you should be hitting F5 all the time. Like, what is your problem? But I think, yeah, that's it. I mean, like, I would definitely read Giuseppe's review when it comes up, because I think he's really digging it so far. But I think most of the common complaints I've seen about The Witcher 3 has been that it's just been like the combat can be a little lackluster, and it's always been the complaint for Witcher 3 is like the combat, while not great, is still totally serviceable. They added like cool finisher moves and like these attacks, and it's like because you have to put a point in there, and you're like, and then the level tree, so you can do combat focus, you can do magic focus, or you can do potion focus, and then you have mutagens that kind of deal with the best way to describe your mutagens is long story short, you're a witcher. You were trained since birth to fight monsters, and they did these weird experiments on you, gene mutation, and then now you can fight monsters and live for like hundreds of years because that's what. There's a good beard going on. Like you can. So you shave in the game, like you shave, and then as you progress, your beard grows back, which is kind of amazing. So
I did remember reading about the dynamic beard growth and thinking that's a next gen feature right there.
You can go and I know the free DLC one of them is like a bunch of beard and hairstyle. So when you go to a barber, you can just kind of like mess around with your do. And then quest for a bit, and then you just you just get stubble, and like now my guy's all crazy and bushy beard because he's been out in the wilderness killing werewolves and stuff.
Yeah, but no, I'm excited to play it. No, I mean especially because the reviews it's been getting, from other outlets have been really positive. I mean, it's easily I've seen plenty of 10s so far saying that this is like an amazing game. So it's probably a good candidate for game of the year. Probably a good bet.
It's fun. It's got every style of game. Then yeah, you're gonna find a lot to like. The combat's different from both games, but the whole world building and just sheer amount of stuff to do that's there. Like it's a game that's gonna keep you busy, and I like that all the quests all have their own little. And you'll notice that like this kind of common theme in the Witcher games is like all the quests are more than what they seem. So nothing is just a typical hey go kill this thing for me. Oh these bandits stole my thing, and then you realize. Well, you double-crossed the bandits, that's why they killed your mother, like, you scumbag, like, so then you're sitting there, it's like, oh, you were actually working for the bad guy the whole time. Oops! Like, there's a ton of that, and you can miss a lot of that, too, which is so weird. But yeah. I like that all the zones are just huge, and then there's these, like, little tiny villages all over the place that you can just kind of skip outright, which I like having that option, because at any point when I'm like, I had it with this, let me just steamroll this story, and then I believe you can still do this missions after you beat the game. What it does, it just kind of pretends to reset to where the final mission is. Final missions, leave us alone. But yeah, Witcher 3, I'm digging it.
Cool.
And then you'll keep us up to date on Witcher 1 and 2 when you get a chance.
I'm sure as we go on, I'll be updating and be like, "Yep, I'm still playing The Witcher." Like I'll get to, I at least want to get to Witcher 3 before the end of.
Let's do some news over here. Run through a couple of headlines. It's gonna be a short podcast, I hope, this week. So
aside from The Witcher 3, which has pretty much been dominating all the news lately,
like a whole dozen, and before you know, it's like 4 a.m. and you're like, "God damn it, I have work."
Yeah,
that's coming. It's the
well. Technically, there was always a white Xbox.
They're doing that same bundle with the Master Chief Collection. The Major Nelson blog revealed that the bundle is going to cost $350. It's a 500 gigabyte Xbox One with a voucher code for Halo: The Master Chief Collection. I think I've seen kind of better bundles out there that were a little bit more included. There's
actually except the black console for I think 300, which is the lowest I think I've ever seen an Xbox One go for on stores, which is awesome. And it comes with Halo Master Chief Collection. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this because I mean, like I was considering the Xbox One until I got my PS4, and then I'm kind of I'll wait maybe before I get an Xbox One. But I definitely would get the white one over the black one. I think just because in general I'm kind of sick of having black. Just
yeah, they got else too. I mean, finish that it's
nice. Yeah, it's really nice.
But I have to dust that mother like every other day, which is a pain in the butt.
Get dirty pretty quick, but it looks really nice. I do like the white. I definitely like the white finish more on the Xbox than the black. So
Halo works. I haven't played Witcher 3 news. So The Witcher 3 had some free DLC go out. If you were playing it on the PS4, you may have noticed a slight bug with the Temerian armor set. So it's the free DLC where basically you get this armor from a merchant who's in the very first town you're in. He's just kind of standing by the tavern, and you say, "Oh, here's the armor. You buy it. You're good." So yeah, it turns out for some people, that merchant is just. Ed was on Twitter responding, and people were asking, "Hey, where do I get this armor?" He goes, "It's the merchant by the thing." And it's like, "Well, I don't see a merchant." And I was like, "Well, he's there." And it's like, "Oh, wait, he's dead." So armor.
Yeah, it seems like there's going to be some more fixes. I've seen a lot of people complaining, not complaining, but like saying that the text in the game is really small. Like it's really hard to read at some points. So I'm sure there's probably going to be a fix for that. Maybe to either provide an option to make text bigger or just do it in general. So.
And couch distance, which is what, 6 feet away.
Yeah.
I couldn't. You can't read anything. So I was like,
yeah.
I have to. So I got to put it back on my desk and play it off my little monitor here, which is a shame. But I'm like, I feel like they could have figured something out on that. I feel like they made it with like a PC monitor.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that's the case. Maybe they did a console, experience where you're going to be like, you're probably going to be on a couch, like, 10 feet away from a TV versus, 2 feet away from a monitor. So.
Asked if the beards can be shaved permanently, but why would you do that, you monster? They said no, it's not possible. You'll just have the beard takes a while to grow, so just keep reshaving it. So.
Yeah, like real life.
Ryan, there's more Evil Within DLC.
There is more Evil Within DLC. I don't know if that was my cue to...
Ryan, you should know when to... Why can't you read my mind?
Anyway, which is the third and the final of the Evil Within's story content, DLC, story missions, that kind of thing. So it's included in the Season Pass, or you can get it separately for $5. But basically, the game will let you... the content will let you play as the Boxman, who, if you played Evil Within, they're the big guys with the safe-looking thing on their heads, and they wield the big axe. They're very scary-looking and Evil Within. So, so they released a gameplay trailer for the DLC, which is coming out next week on all platforms. And interestingly enough, aside from getting to play as one of them, it will also include first-person gameplay, which is a pretty big George, or the person, like...
Boxing, like, I just... The change of that camera angles could not possibly help that game at all. Like,
we'll have to wait and see how it actually looks in game, But the idea is cool. Yeah, it sounds cool. I didn't play any of the previous DLC for Evil Within just because I didn't really love the game that much. But it sounds like the DLC actually did some pretty interesting stuff and kind of, I think, righted some of the wrongs of like the original game. Since it gave you like different characters to play as and like some new mechanics and things, so that might be something where like I might pick up the Season Pass at some point and just play.
I hate myself in order to play the Evil Within again because playing it once.
I wasn't. It was a little bit of a slog. I didn't really love it as much either. So the first list that came around. So let's go for it.
10 more tracks today. Calling Tracklist Tuesdays. Get it? Because it's a Facebook thing, and I hate social media. All right. Royal Blood, Little Monster, Marilyn Manson, Disposable Teens, Kill Switch Engage, In Due Time, Marmosets, Move Shake Hide, Of Mice and Men, Bones Expose, Deftones, Diamond Eyes. I actually like the Deftones. Vista Chino, Sweet Remain, Bring Me the Horizon, Shadow Moses. That's an awesome Strife.
I know the artists, Marilyn Manson, Kill Switch Engage, Mastodon, Trivium, all those. So this is definitely a more heavy metal focused list.
Yeah, I think that was everyone's consensus.
No, but it seems like they're doing some pretty more hardcore stuff. So I'm excited. It sounds like they're getting a lot of variety in there. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm waiting on pins and needles for Xenoblade Chronicles X.
I actually haven't. I'm sorry. I never I was like.
Our own Christian Shaw couldn't wait either. He reviewed the Japanese version of Xenoblade Chronicles. He gave it a 9.5. And I wish I knew what was happening in this game because it looks awesome. It's got
It does, yeah.
and Dragon mixed with like Monster Hunter and like PSO and all these other kind of badass games. But yeah, that looks good. So I have to get one of our anime editors on just so they can like
explain. It's Kevin or Christian have to come on at some point because I just don't know these games as well. So
could have gave Xenoblade a 10. Like I would still not play it ever. Like. And I want him to come on and just, hey, oh, okay, that's why that game is so cool. And, like, maybe he can sell me on it. But, like, I'm looking at it I'm reading the review. It sounds like it's a good game. But I just, like, when you have, like, zero interest in something, like Smash Brothers, like, that's, like... But,
no, Xenoblade would be cool. I've wanted to play the original Xenoblade Chronicles for some time. I don't really have an interest in getting a new 3DS, unfortunately. And that's really the only game that is... out and that has been announced really for the new Wii and play that again. So, yeah, I mean, Chronicles X seems really cool, and I'm glad that the series is going to continue on and that it won't be just this one-off like kind of cult hit. So, did they say that? I think they said there was an update coming. I don't know if they actually updated it, but
it was an update. If your definition of update was new news about something, then yeah, it was an update because the news was Fantasy 15 demo in June. Which, of course, if you were a big fan of Final Fantasy 15 and just clamoring for more news, you hate this because you already played this demo if you picked up Final Fantasy Type 0 HD, which I actually tried playing last week prior to The Witcher. Here it is. Oh my god, do I hate this game!
Final Fantasy persons.
It was a cutscene. Basically, you're getting a war briefing about like these battling nations you know nothing about. They just assume, which is maybe my fault. The game was under the assumption that like I knew everything it was talking about. Like, oh, we've got Lefay and the blah 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 nation and the Fire Nation are going over here and they're going after each other. But the 3rd Regiment from the Dead, and I'm like, I missed something. Like, but yeah, wow. Kingdom Hearts-ish. That's just that barely like.
Yeah, it's more.
I had one guy threw cards, and I was like, "Oh man, he's like Yugi. This is awesome." So he was really cool. And then it was more incoherent nonsense, and I was just like, you know what? What am I doing? The Witcher's coming out soon. I don't need this in my life. So I'm gonna put that on the back burner for a while. And maybe the 15 demo, I never got a chance to play it. It looks really neat, just because from a visual standpoint, it looks like really jaw dropping. So yeah, I can't wait to just give that one a shot. Will I get Final Fantasy 15? Will you get Final Fantasy 15, Ryan?
It was like one of the least Final Fantasy looking Final Fantasy games I've seen. So I think just Vit looked really interesting because it has a more kind of contemporary look than what we've seen from Final Fantasy. Direction the game basically. I mean, I'll probably wait until it's out and then I'll see. I'm more excited about Kingdom Hearts because I really enjoy Kingdom Hearts. So that's Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm going to be waiting with bated breath for, but obviously that's still a ways away. So yeah, but if I had to choose between one or the other, I'd pick Kingdom Hearts. But
I choose a bullet to the brain. Let's see what else we got. Xbox One have sold a combined 34 million units. Are you okay, Sonny? Are you not impressed by that news?
I'm doing so well. Yeah, I could tell by that ear and that licking and all that. Yeah, not impressed.
Here, go run or something. Get your life together. A lot of consoles. I'm hoping this console cycle lasts for a while because I don't know. Video games are nice.
It is. I hope it doesn't run as long as the last gen, which ran way too long.
Killed DualShocker Dave Rodriguez. He said it killed this Xbox. It killed this PS3. He tried playing it. He got to a certain point, and the PS3 just said, "You know what? Too much drama. My old heart can't handle it," and it just died.
It just died. Yeah. It was time for new consoles. So yeah. But no, it's definitely it's a good sign, especially since both consoles have already been selling faster than the previous generation did. I think a large part of that is I think whenever new console is out, people are just hungry for the next console, even if there aren't and that there hasn't really been that much out exclusive wise for either console. But I think people are just so for the something new to play on. So
and I think people forget that the good stuff on console doesn't come out for a couple of years. I mean,
yeah.
Gears, when you think of the PS3 and the Xbox 360, the really marquee titles, Gears was a couple of years down the road, and the Uncharted 2. I mean, yeah, you had the Uncharted 1, which is a hot mess, But yeah, like Uncharted 2, God of War was forever. Metal Gear took a while. Oh, you're back, Sonny? Are you done doing what you got to do? Okay, he's back. You little budgie. I think people were expecting everything all at once when these consoles came out. And you know what? That's fine. I mean, with the advent of like social media, people are expecting, and then you go to these events and you see like E3. It's like, yeah, winners, holiday season, where are my games? And stuff's getting pushed back, and like I can see why people are getting like a little annoyed. Where, you know what? I didn't pay $400 for a PS4 just to play indie games that came out on the PC last year or on my Vita last year. Like, I appreciate that cash. And
well, I mean, yeah. That we're getting basically just prettier versions of games that have been out for several years and not.
And give me my Uncharted 5. What else we got here? I think. Let's talk about E3 for a second. So they finally put out the full schedule for E3 for all the conferences and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I've got the list here. If you want to run through it.
It's basically like, in years past, the schedule's been pretty much the same. It's always been kind of the same order of companies going. Obviously, this year's a little different because we've got a lot of new conferences that are kind of joining the fray. So it's going to be a big year because there's 3 new conferences that are joining this year. So that's a lot.
Basically, on Sunday, right?
We're gonna have to book it on Sunday because we have to go check in, take care of all that stuff, and then go to a conference that night. So it's gonna be a lot. Basically, to go down the E3 schedule for this year, we've got Sunday, June 14th. We've got Bethesda, which will be Sunday night. We've got Microsoft starting at 9:30/12:30, EA at 1 p.m/4 p.m., Ubisoft at 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. 3 p.m/6 p.m. and Sony 6 p.m. 9 p.m. The Monday lineup, that's how it's always been. It's the same as last year, so that's not a surprise that there's kind of that order that goes to it. And then June 16th is June 16th is the first official day of E3 when the show is open. So you'll have the floor and all the exhibitors and all that. There are going to be some conferences that day, mostly stream stuff. So we've got Nintendo doing a digital event at 9/12 p.m. So that'll be their big Nintendo Direct for E3 that they've done. They started doing for the last 2 years now is when they started doing all the directs for E3.
Like lock down a venue, it's just all their own little studio doing that.
It's great, and
the streams is great.
Thing because aside from that, they also do their live Treehouse broadcast, which is basically so you can actually go and watch them at E3. They do it in their area where they're being broadcast live, where they'll do demos, they'll show off games, during the show. So the good thing is that with that, they can kind of like keep the excitement building over the course of the whole show rather than just do it in one conference like everyone else, which is cool. And it's kind of unique to them. So then we've got Square Enix doing their first ever conference at 10 a.m/1 p.m. And then we've got the first ever PC gaming show at 5 p.m. So that's going to be sort of a collection of different people involved, mainly with PC gaming. But I know like Cliffy B is going to be there on behalf of his company, Boss Key Productions. Blizzard will be there, obviously. Obsidian Entertainment, so Paradox. So a lot of PC-focused companies will be there showing off probably hardware. I'm sure a good mix of games. But yeah, I'm curious about that. That's probably the anomaly, since one seems like it's going to be more of a mix of like hardware and software stuff. So we'll see what happens.
And we'll do. We're gonna have a special ShockCast before we fly off to E3. The E3 prediction show where I get Joel on here and he. What, you don't want Joel on here?
Joel just he's just gonna predict the show basically. Try and do some kind of like reaction, like video or podcast or something like that, just so we can get out some quick sort of reactions on the fly after the event, after it happens. So
yeah, my first E3, so we're gonna do a ton of like really dumb nonsense on video, which is gonna be fun. Like George versus E3, we're gonna see who wins.
Yeah,
this guy wins.
Right, George and Ryan take E3.
And like I said, stay tuned the week prior to E3, so we'd have our prediction show and we figure out like. I definitely want to do the E3 prediction show and then see what actually happens. Like Fallout 4 finally gets announced, and then we're like, nope, it didn't. It was Fallout Online, and it looks like crap. But
is disagreeing with you there.
He is not the idea of a Fallout Online. Ryan, what the hell are the Nintendo World Championships, and why do I have to go to Best Buy for them?
What's that? Sorry.
What are the world champions?
Yes. So one of the big surprise. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. So anyway, but getting back, the Nintendo World Championships, which was an event they originally did 25 years ago, but since then they have not had it in between then. So basically, it's a big tournament where they so Nintendo announced this a week or two ago during the Direct, and then earlier this week they released the qualifying locations and details. So basically, at 8 Best Buy retail stores across the country, Nintendo will be having sort of qualifying events. So they're going to be limited to 750 people at each location. So to run those off really quickly, they will be in San Francisco, California, Torrance, California, Miami, Florida, Schaumburg, Illinois, Maple Grove, Minnesota, Long Island City, New York, Dallas, Texas, and Tacoma, Washington. So they're pretty spread out between the east, the west, the south, and the everywhere in between. But there's only 8, so if you want to go and qualify for the Nintendo World Championships, you might have to do some traveling. But basically, they'll be hosting them on May 30th, and the qualifying competition will feature the Champion Ultimate NES Remix game for Nintendo 3DS, which, if you've not played that before, basically it's just a collection of, almost like WarioWare, if you've ever played those. It's basically short little mini games that are themed around Nintendo games, so it's like, hey, run through the first level of Super Mario Bros. As fast as you can, or beat a level of Dr. Mario in 30 seconds, like things like that. So basically, just be a little they'll do competitions in score-based challenges in Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3, and Dr. Mario. So basically, it'll probably just be like whoever can get the highest score or beat it in the fastest time. So the top scorers from each of the 8 will move on to the final event, and then Nintendo will also select another 8 competitors that they'll reveal at a later time. And those people will compete at the Nintendo World Championships at E3. So it's cool. They'll get to go to E3 and the event, and it'll be fun.
So I wonder if it's going to be like that old championship tournament where they gave you that really unique NES cartridge that I think is right now sitting at like Video Games New York at like $25,000. That's
there's I think some of those cartridges sell for like $100,000. They are extremely rare. Because what they did was in the original one they had that gold cartridge that had all the games and stuff they competed with on there, but they're extremely rare and very valuable. So yeah. But yeah, obviously it's fun. It's nice. It kind of piggybacks, I think, a little bit off of what they did last year, which was they did a big Smash Brothers tournament during E3 mainly. So it's nice that they're doing something similar to that vein and getting the community involved and all that. I know. I heard
the podcast is running along. We're like Sonny just bored to tears. All right, Ryan, we're gonna wrap it up and go. What are you playing this week? What is happening? Are you witching?
I have been playing a little bit of The Witcher 1, not The Witcher 3, unfortunately, as much as I want to play it. But I want to catch up on those before I get to 3. I did actually play a lot. I finished Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS4. I went through the campaign on that and replayed it, so I had a good time playing that. But I'm good. I definitely was the first person, some of the controls were a little awkward, especially the shooting and the running. I felt like were a little weird because it doesn't control like a normal first-person shooter. It's
shooter.
It still has... Yeah, it still has GTA controls just in first person, and GTA, I'm not really as big a fan of the controls of GTA in general. I just think they are a little clunky and a little weird, but at first person doesn't help that. But it was cool to get to especially when you're driving and you're going 100 miles per hour, it is freakishly fast. About how mirrors in games are actually really asset intensive, in order to properly do reflections and things like that of in game. So that's why they tend to cheat it a little bit in most games where they do mirrors. But anyway, I'll move on.
Just no, we're just turning the camera around and putting it here.
Basically, yeah, it's it's reflection because it would be way too much of a an asset of a resource, for the game. But anyway. So I played through that. I started a little bit of The Witcher 1 on PC, and then there was something else. Oh, I also been playing a little bit of to go through my backlog a little bit. I was playing Enslaved, an Odyssey to the West. I haven't played it, and it was on my.
What's
that?
It's a good game.
Yeah, it's good so far. I'm like maybe 2 or 3 hours in, so I'm a pretty good deal of the way through. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's been fun.
Ninja Theory, right?
Yeah, Ninja Theory. Yeah, that was what they did before DMC. Coming up, actually, this week, I'm going to be actually this podcast. I'm going to be playing Life is Strange episode 3. I'm going to do that next, and then I also started jumping a little bit back into Destiny for the House of Wolves expansion.
Rejoicing with George is coming from break. I guess I took a mid-season at a mid-season finale a couple of weeks ago, so now I'm going to go maybe play some Convoy, maybe show some Witcher 3, and you are just losing it today, buddy. What is wrong with you? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Like more Witcher, and then some random weird indie games. That'll be fun. But,
they're always fun.
But yeah, this was the ShockCast episode 206. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me. And I was George, and oh my God, puppies! Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.